What's good? You right, your boy Czar, all rights reserved. I just went through the series showing you the start to the midway point of when a hater hit me. Another point I made about when I called out something very prevalent in getting people to see certain suspects. Now you're going to get the real me about this. The reason I initially went into the Lil Reese academics thing was because of this. Look at the similarities, all right? Now let's cover first. We're going to go through 5. Again, all off the dome, I remember them. Number 1, there was a suburban neighborhood, things happening. Did you realize how in this suburban neighborhood when it happened to Lil Reese, that there were no witnesses, barely any. People they named as witnesses just said a man drove up shooting a certain gun. Think about that. It's very similar to what we saw. Guess what? Another thing. Look at the vehicle used, okay? Look at the vehicle used. It carries the same emblem of the vehicle that we seen on the scene after X got it, okay? Number 2, look at how it's being handled in the media. It's being handled the same way. They're barely saying anything up front right now. Barely. Saying they're still looking for people. Do you get how that works? It's all a matter of perspective. Number 3, look at the area of where the shot was landing. Look, it's in the neck area. Where was Tentacion's neck area? Okay. Number 4, I can't make this up. Number 4, look at the way there is someone reacting and interacting. Academics reacted the same way to Lil Reese's that he did to X's. That's a fact. You didn't react in a remorseful way in things after you were saying all these different things. That's number 4. There was a media reaction that was very similar on the platform of YouTube. Number 5, look at the way the information's rolling out. Investigators are sitting on information the same way they sat on it with Tentacion. Therefore, thank God if Lil Reese pulls through, I'll look for him to pull through. But don't be surprised if their investigation leads them to random people that honestly we have no proof of actually having done it. Don't be shocked, because these are the same way the case is happening. Remember when I first started the X case, I said straight up, I said the way this case is being handled, I said what's crazy to me is I don't really see any other case in history being handled that way. These things should be telling to you when there is foul play of, in the words that academic had used, not about a particular situation, but people that are uncontrollable. Look at it. Lil Reese was not very controllable. He did his own thing. He got his deal on his own. He moved around in it. He didn't need a group to get a deal. He moved solo with the deal. Think about these things. Think about it. And he's a big name artist that is rising in the ranks just like X was. Look at it. There's so many similarities. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. It really makes you shake, because now this seems like the thing that they do when an artist, let's say, is moving different than is expected. That's a fact. You can't hide these things. These things are out there. You've witnessed them with the X situation. Now you're witnessing them with the Lil Reese situation. And one thing I want to tell you, don't be shocked if they try and turn up and say, oh, there's no suspects. 48 hours is the term of engagement. They've missed that. You're seeing a similar basis. Now, don't be shocked either if a witness tries to pop up on the station saying, oh, I seen it, this is how it happened, try to explain it, and they ran, or they really didn't see everything. This is the normality that engagement with situations of this nature are beginning to participate. Do not be shocked. Do not be angered. This is how it works now. This is what they do. If you're not listening as an artist and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to be in a situation like this, especially if you signed on the dotted line. Because someone was telling me he's independent, which I have not researched to say he was or was not. But he was with Def Jam. That is a fact. He was a Def Jam artist. Why would he be independent now? What made him switch up and say, I'm not rocking with these guys? These are things you need to think about. These are things you need to think about because they are going to define the future when you're showed something else happened to an artist and something else happened to this artist and something else happened to that artist. And don't be surprised if they're like, oh, that's fake. That didn't happen. I had guys hopping in here saying X was Lil JoJo. I had guys doing the most, literally with a bunch of followers agreeing because they look similar. That's not enough proof. Show me the proof. That's what I'm saying. They can't show proof. Deny showing proof. Just say it's obvious. It's right in front of you. That is when someone wants to trick you. How many people said it's obvious to us that you pray like this? Or it's obvious that you do this a certain way and we're wrong. They were wrong. Don't be shocked. This is about shocking your system. All of these incidents are about shocking your system. Here's another thing. Yes, a lot of violence does occur in Chicago. Look it up. There's more violence occurring to young black girls than there is occurring to any other black man. Young black children with organs missing. Why isn't that all over the news? Oh, because it's beneficial and it's profitable to somebody. Think. You need to learn to think. Oh, the Kanika Jenkins situation. Why did I leave that alone? Oh, because I saw that there was probably missing organs in the situation. Did they want to speak about that? No. Listen, there's a method to the madness of what it is you're seeing around you. There's always a method. You think someone just rolled up and shot. Listen, how long has he been in the game? How much has he rolled through the hood of Chicago where the most violence occurs? Nothing's happened. He goes to the suburbs. He's suburban swerving, and this happens. X is suburban swerving. This happens. Think. There's a method to the madness of it. It's not just, oh, he ended up in this situation because no, there was something that happened that made him uncontrollable. Trust me, there's always that factor, whether you realize it or not. Whether you realize it or not, there is that factor. Now, let me get to a receipt or two, okay? I want to show you how it's being spoken about on the net.
Chicago rapper was shot this afternoon in the South Suburbs.
Tavares Taylor.
South Suburbs.
Lil Reese.
This guy has rolled through South Chicago, but in the South Suburbs, something happens. Really?
Is in critical condition this hour at Advocate Christ Medical Center with a gunshot wound in the neck. WGN's Tom Negavan is there live with our report tonight. Tom?
Right. Joe and Michael, witnesses say the rapper was targeted by a gunman who pursued him through traffic, opening fire with a small rifle at a busy intersection in Country Club Hills. Skycam over the...
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? Did you catch it? A busy intersection. He was chased through traffic. Now, who's that brave unless they know they can do the crime and get away from it? Who's that brave? Think. It's not about being brave. They were on a mission. And the mission was safe for them to do it, or they wouldn't have did that. They wouldn't have did that. With cops all around, who would take that chance? At daytime, a busy intersection near a country club. Near a country club, busy intersection. Really? Someone would take that chance? That's not how hitters move. We notice. We went over stories in Chicago. Hitters do not move this way. They don't.
Large crime scene late this afternoon. Traffic snarled around 167th and Pulaski. The victim's bullet-riddled Jeep Grand Cherokee still in the road, surrounded by police, who tell WGN they arrived to find fresh blood in and around the SUV, but no victim. Someone had already taken him to South Suburban Hospital in nearby Hazel Crest, bleeding badly from a gunshot wound to the neck. He was treated and
same area. Okay, listen. Keep listening.
transferred. People nearby report hearing a long volley of gunshots, as many as 12, and say the shots sounded like they were getting closer.
After the shots, car crash.
So this guy was shooting out at him through traffic, riding through traffic like Contra, just shooting. Does that even make sense? What hitter would do that? You're not in the hood. Do you know how many times rappers have got up and spoke about seeing their enemy in the suburbs and going different ways because they didn't want the drama? Do you know how many times that's happened? You're in the suburbs. Why would you ride through shooting? Unless you felt safe going on the mission. Let's get it.
And just a few minutes after that, police and paramedics, including locals say officers armed with long rifles, searching nearby parking lots for the gunman.
You never know what can happen or when that person is hiding.
What they didn't know is the man had already fled northbound in what witnesses describe as a white or gray Chevy Malibu with tinted windows and was gone.
Does that car not sound familiar? Does that car not sound familiar? Please, someone tell me. Yay or nay, does that car sound familiar? That sounds familiar.
As police did their search, some businesses locked down, workers sheltering in place.
And we're actually locked up on the doors. A few minutes after that, the police were coming up and down here looking for, anybody that was involved. They had their guns out, so the whole plaza ended up locking up the doors for
minutes after. Wait. Minutes after they're doing that, but this guy was shooting through traffic and they didn't know? He was shooting through traffic and it took them minutes after he was shot for them to come? No one called the cops when he was shooting through traffic? I don't believe that. That's hard to believe.
TheCzarr Taylor, better known as rapper Lil Reese, in critical condition here tonight with a single gunshot wound to the neck. Police still searching for the man who shot him.
This guy was shooting through traffic with a mini Draco and landed one shot into the neck after shooting through traffic and kept it pushing? Really? He just chose to shoot him in the neck once and run. If you're going with the machine gun, you're trying to empty it. So his last bullet, let's be objective, his last bullet was used and then he did. He saved one to run up to the car, but took the chance shooting through traffic. Why wouldn't he take the chance to save his ammo altogether till he was in a spot to shoot it up? It's crazy.
Live at Advocate Christ Medical Center in Oakland, Tom Negavan, WGN News.
Hi, this is attorney and
It's safe to say the new age hitmen move a little sloppy if that's how they move. Hitmen don't move that way. Why would they move that way? Really?
Hi, this is attorney.
Here we go. Here goes the video. Here's the one you want to see. We're alluding to the suspect and they have a face on it. They're alluding to the suspect with a face on it.
Real life situations.
Completely, man. We gotta kind of talk about some of that.
Today at Line Report, we're sad to report that 26-year-old Chicago native and rapper Lil Reese was shot 12 times at Country Club Hills intersection in a Chicago.
He was shot 12 times? Didn't they just say he got shot once in the neck? You see how everybody's story is funny stuff? He was shot 12 times? No, he wasn't. Who? And this is the guy with 100,000 subs. So he's being used to feed you wrong information. Funny. Someone who shot once versus someone who shot 12 times. Who's more likely to make it? So isn't it funny how he's preaching that to y'all? So if he doesn't make it, that you'll think he was shot 12 times. That's debunked. That's not what the news said.
Lil Reese was in his Jeep Grand Cherokee driving down Pulaski Road.
Wonder whose interview they're showing on the screen while he's talking. You guys think it's all, you think it's all by chance. You think it's all by chance.
He noticed he was being followed by another car. When they had gotten to the intersection, witnesses saw the gunman get out of his Chevy Malibu and fire a small rifle at Reese 12 times before fleeing the busy intersection. There are multiple witnesses who have been helping law enforcement identify the suspect, whose vehicle was caught on camera. We will be covering how this whole fiasco...
His vehicle's caught on camera. You got many witnesses helping identify the suspect. Why in 48 hours don't you have him? His car was caught on camera. You have many, he said many witnesses trying to help to identify. In 48 hours, why is that impossible to catch him? Why? So you could say you caught him somewhere else after he ran? I don't understand that. That makes no sense.
Unraveled just days ago, which left the rapper fighting for his life. Be sure to stay tuned until the end of the video to get all the details on why Lil Reese was attacked. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and comment keyword.
He's saying he's going to give us all the details on why he was attacked. Let's listen. Didn't I just say if you're uncontrollable in any profession, especially in artistry, they come for you. But in media, if you're uncontrollable, your views go down. That's the game. Watch.
Reese below to get a chance of winning our $100 Amazon gift card giveaway. Growing up in Southside Chicago, Lil Reese is no stranger to this type of violence. Yet, this is the first time that he had to seriously fight for his life. The assailant did his best to end the rapper's life that day. It was reported that the suspect had fired his weapon at Reese's Jeep Grand Cherokee 12 times to make sure he didn't miss. The gunshots have penetrated the rapper's neck, leaving him with some serious wounds. It also left Reese's deep.
Didn't he say he was shot 12 times? Did you see what I'm saying? How they play with the story? You just said he was shot 12 times. You didn't say shot the vehicle 12 times. Now you're explaining it and you say shot the vehicle. Shock factor. Clickbait. That's how it works.
Difficult to be a very messy crime scene. The gunman was seen by multiple eyewitnesses as he fled, heading northbound in his white and gray Chevy Malibu shortly after firing his weapon. This attempted assassination had occurred at a busy Chicago intersection during broad daylight, so there was no lack of eyewitnesses. These same witnesses reported that Tavares Taylor, better known as Lil Reese, appeared to be targeted by the gunman as the suspect chased the rapper's Jeep down before they had met at the intersection. This is when the gunman pulled the trigger 12 times. The suspect's Chevy Malibu had tinted windows and a Wisconsin license plate. He was spotted leaving the crime scene at 167th. Question
is, how did he know that Lil Reese was inside? Can you answer that? That'll be answering all the questions. How did he know Lil Reese was inside?
Street and Pulaski Road at 2:30 p.m. Investigators say he was wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt when he exited the vehicle. After deeply investigating the gunshot holes on the vehicle, it was believed that the weapon that was used was an AK-47. This is a popular weapon choice for gang members in Southside Chicago.
How is that the weapon used when on cam? That's not the weapon we see. Really? We seen the footage.
So this came as no surprise to local law enforcement, yet the vehicle had Wisconsin plates. So, could it have been rented? This is what police and investigators were trying to find out. They were also trying to figure out what the motive was behind this attempted assassination.
You're going to tell us.
At the scene, found the bullet.
He just said he's going to tell us. He just said that. He said, I'm going to tell you the motive. Now he's saying they're trying to figure the motive.
Riddle Jeep, but no victim inside of it. Someone had already taken Reese to Advocate South Suburban Hospital, which was nearby. The rapper was injured badly and appeared to be in critical condition when they got to the hospital. Doctors had treated Reese as best they could before having him transferred to Advocate Christ Medical Center, which was a closer medical center to where he lives. If no one had been there to take Reese to the hospital immediately, he would have passed away on site, just moments after being shot. Local businesses near the crime scene have locked up their stores for their own safety after hearing the gunshots go off. Police had paid a visit to the businesses and spoke to their employees to see if they knew anything about the suspect.
You wouldn't go get the footage and start hunting the guy immediately? You wouldn't go get the footage and start hunting immediately. Why do you need to talk to them first? Give me your footage. We got to find this guy. Thank you. What's the talk for?
Had any details that could help. Law enforcement started to search all the nearby parking lots, looking for the suspect's vehicle. They had gathered a lot of evidence and camera footage near the intersection, which was helping them get a great start on identifying the suspect.
Then why are they
Law
talking to
enforcement
store
has been
owners?
working very diligently to gather and review as much evidence as possible before they identify and arrest the suspect. Unfortunately, Chicago PD deals with these types of homicides pretty frequently. But even they were surprised to see this type of violence occur in the suburbs at the time that it did. This has been a tough year for Lil Reese. Just earlier this year, he had been attacked by 5 people while he was alone. A rapper named XxxTentacion, who appears to be part of the incident, had released video footage of Reese getting jumped in June of this year. XxxTentacion then bragged about the attack on Instagram, trying to embarrass Lil Reese. It seems like the rapper couldn't catch a break as of lately, and it was obvious he had some active enemies. He took to social media to speak on the incident and claimed that he was getting jumped. He got up and tried to fight all 5 of the attackers, even though he was by himself. They repeatedly hit Lil Reese and left him bruised on the floor as seen in the video footage. He was attacked 2 separate times in less than a year. Police are investigating if these attacks were...
Now, let me ask you, if this Grim Reaper is doing all that stuff you allude to, how did those guys get away with doing that? If he's doing all this you allude to, how is he getting away? That doesn't make sense. He's doing all this. He's involved in all this in the mentions, and those guys got away with doing what to him? Does that even make sense? Does that make sense to somebody? He's involved in all that stuff you put on his name, and the guy that did that, nothing happened as of yet?
In any way related, or if they were 2 separate attacks of violence without any connection. Could one of these 5 thugs that had jumped Reese earlier be the same suspect that had shot the rapper just days ago? We believe these 5 thugs may be the people of interest to law enforcement.
How? How would they? How would they? I'm asking how. I'm not saying they're not. How? When they had him alone and they recorded them doing it, rather than broad day riding down, shooting up, trying to shoot his car. Why wouldn't they just catch him alone again? Or catch him with his guys and do that? Why would they chase him through traffic to do that? Think of it. Think about how that sounds. It makes no sense. I'm trying to show you. It makes no sense.
During this investigation, whoever has shot the Chicago rapper was a person of high interest to Chicago PD since they left Lil Reese in critical condition, causing him to fight for...
Well, I would hope so. Really? I'd hope so. What kind of narrative is that? I hope they're trying to catch someone who tried to commit attempted murder. Why wouldn't you try and catch them? Why wouldn't they be of high interest? Really? These are the large platforms they go to speak on it. For real.
Life. The recent shooting was so bad that rumors started to circulate that Reese had passed away in this incident. The rumors were cleared up shortly after when Reese's friend and fellow Chicago rapper, Lil Durk, had tweeted that Reese was doing good. This gives us faith that the rapper can survive and is doing a little better after his emergency treatment. Sources tell us law enforcement should be releasing the images of the suspect's vehicle very soon, once they complete their investigation. Although Reese appears to have a lot of enemies, he also has a lot of Southside Chicagoans who will fight for him. At this time, police and plenty of other Chicagoans...
Snitching? I don't understand. Fight for him? Like, what are you saying?
We're on the lookout for the Chevy Malibu with Wisconsin plates. We are hoping police find the suspect first, before things become any more violent.
Why would a car with Wisconsin plates ride down on him? Why? Why? What, they went all the way to Wisconsin to get the car that they could use to do the drive-by? It doesn't make sense.
Lil Reese's background and loyalty to Chicago. Reese always wanted to stay in Chicago, even after finding success in the music industry. This was unlike other Chicago artists who usually moved to New York or Los Angeles shortly after gaining success. He was a true native and repped for his neighborhood, which made him a well-respected Chicago rapper. Reese has been making music since 2010 And over time, he has collaborated with other Chicago artists like Chief Keef, Fredo Santana, and Lil Durk. He is most known for his...
He said Fredo Santana. He said Fredo Santana. This tells you he shouldn't be doing the story. Fredo Santana? Can't y'all coach up y'all guys to deliver the story more sensible? Fredo, put some respect on the deceased. You said Fredo Santana. Do some research. This is how you know he was handed information to do this. He didn't research it. He said Fredo Santana. Really?
feature on one of Chief Keef's biggest songs called Don't Like, which has gone platinum. Chief Keef was one of the biggest rap names to come out of the south side of Chicago at this time. When he put Reese on his song, Don't Like, it caused Reese's fan base and music following to grow rapidly. Their music video had reached millions of views on YouTube, and this got...
You see how it's easy for him to say to grow rapidly. Like he didn't do it with his music too. Like he didn't have an album called Super Savage. He didn't have albums. He didn't get signed to Def Jam. Like you see, this guy did no research. He's just talking. There's no research involved.
Lil Reese to build strong connections. He eventually caught the attention of legendary Chicago producer No ID, who had produced projects for Common, Kanye, and other huge music stars in the past. Reese and No ID started to work together, which led to the rapper getting signed by Def Jam. Lil Reese has put out a total of 7 mixtapes since he has started his music career, and has a couple more projects in the works that he will be releasing if he recovers from this shooting incident. In addition to his mixtapes, he continues to feature on...
He didn't put out one album. Not one album. Via this guy, he doesn't have an album. Really? They're all mixtapes?
Other artists' songs as well. He was featured on Rick Ross's mixtape, The Black Bar Mitzvah, and it was no surprise that he frequently featured on other Chicago rappers' projects like Fredo Santana's, for example.
He said it again.
In his career,
he couldn't even catch his mistake. This guy's put up to talk about it. He can't even catch his mistake. You couldn't even catch your mistake.
He came out with a collective EP with another Chicago rapper named Lil Durk. The rapper was dedicated to his work and consistently stayed in the studio through the last several years.
He's just talking.
He is well respected, especially in his home state. And if he were to pass away, this would be a hard loss for Chicago and for the hip-hop community. Thankfully, Reese was brought to the hospital moments after the attack. He was brought into the hospital in critical condition, but was treated quickly, which highly increases his chances at surviving this attack.
Which highly increases his chances at surviving. You're just talking. You're just talking. You're just talking. With that weird music in the background. Ding, ding. Like it's not a sad situation. What is this?
Law enforcement has gathered some serious evidence. It has only been a few days since the incident, but they are making solid progress in their investigation. The eyewitnesses have done their best to give a detailed description of the shooter, who was dressed in a gray hoodie. Some of the nearby businesses have surveillance cameras always recording. Police is going through the footage and trying to find a clear image of the suspect so they can bring them to justice.
We watched 48 hours. How long does it take? How long does it take? How long does it take? 48 hours. Evidence expires. Come on.
People like this need to be put behind bars. There have been many other rappers who have lost their lives early to gun violence, and it is very tragic since most of the time it is preventable. Reese's background. Tavares Taylor, aka Lil Reese, was born on January 6th of 1993 in Chicago, Illinois. The rapper grew up on this...
Most of the time, it is preventable. I sure hope so. I sure hope so. I hope these things are preventable, sir. It was in a suburban South area. Suburban. Most of these things are preventable. Does that sound familiar? This style of narrating. Does it sound familiar? Really?
South
Do you got Summer's Eve in your shower too? Do you got Summer's Eve in your shower too, sir?
Side of Chicago and was widely influenced by gang activity. Speaking on these gang affiliations and experiences was a big part of his music. We don't know much about his family, and he does not seem to have a current girlfriend. But
we don't know much about his family. If you research, he posted up photos of his family on Twitter, his family on Instagram. Did this guy, you're telling me this guy researched? He knows all about Lil Reese. This is what they do. They put this clown out here to talk to you like he knows. So he influences the masses that this is what it is about this guy.
you know that he has a 5-year-old daughter named Aubrey, who is the highlight of his life. Earlier on in his career, Reese had run.
If you know his daughter, you haven't seen pictures of his mother, that he lost his grandmother. You don't take the time to look at this stuff, but you want to get up here and rush to YouTube and talk about it. You want to rush to YouTube and talk about it. I got to get on YouTube and talk about it. Really? Lime TV. What's your name? Lime Reporter.
Into some serious controversial legal issues. His first incident was for a burglary. He was found guilty for this in May of 2010, which resulted in the rapper getting 2 years of probation. This incident occurred when he was still spending time performing.
I gotta be honest, I don't know how you beat that. You must have had the top lawyer. They must have ain't have no fingerprints or nothing. You had a good lawyer. Beat that.
Gang activities. This was just before he started to take music seriously. His second legal incident occurred right after his probation had finished for his first case. On October 24th of 2012, there is a video released of Reese and another unidentified man brutally beating on a Chicago woman by the name of Tiara Marie. Reese got what was coming to him.
Did you catch that? Tell me I'm not bugging. That was crazy. Now, it's crazy what he did. Beating on a woman. Yes, that's crazy. I remember that video. He got what was coming to him. Like, what?
And was arrested for this domestic violence. But he was released on a $100,000 bail shortly after this arrest. He later apologized to the woman and stated that it was not the right thing to do. Although Reese had obviously made some very serious mistakes in the past, he has not really had any recent legal troubles since these incidents. The rapper seems to have matured and grown a lot throughout the last few years, which is normal when you have a child. It is an extremely sad situation that someone has tried to assassinate him just days ago, but we are hoping he gets justice and will make it out stronger than ever. The suspect didn't do a great job of remaining discreet during the attack, so we believe it's just a matter of time before law enforcement finds them and brings them to justice. We are confident Reese will have a bounce back soon, and can't wait for him to drop new music. Who do you want?
Yo, these are the YouTubers I never want to be like. I don't care if you got 100,000. Your legacy sucks. This is what I want to talk about. Do you hear the similarities? We'll get into it more tomorrow. You rocking with your boy TheCzarr, all rights reserved. What are your thoughts on these similarities? And listen to the narrative of it. Play this video back. Listen to his narrative. The greatest nation since United Nations is in the building and in attendance. What is your thoughts on this situation? Do you believe there's similarities to Tentacion's case or not? What do you think about this guy's narration? Crazy. It was out there. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know exactly what you think. All rights reserved.